It was one of those quiet afternoons that carried the sound of rain long after it had stopped. The diner windows still glistened with soft streaks of water, and the smell of brewed coffee hung thick in the air. Neon reflections trembled faintly on the tiled floor, mixing with the fading light of a small American town that had seen better days. A jukebox hummed gently in the corner, an old Elvis tune skipping every few beats. The clatter of plates, the hiss of the coffee machine, and the soft murmur of voices made the place feel alive, even in its loneliness. Behind the counter, Mia moved quietly. Her blue and white uniform, though faded, was clean and pressed. Every motion she made, wiping the counter, pouring coffee, offering a faint smile, was practiced, almost like a ritual. She was the kind of person who spoke through kindness rather than words. But behind those warm gestures lived a silence shaped by survival. She had been working here for 3 years, 3 years of morning shifts, fake smiles, and unspoken worries. Her life was stitched together by rent deadlines and second-hand dreams. Yet she carried herself with grace, even when the world wasn't kind. The bell above the door jingled. A gust of air came in, harsh, loud, wrong. 5 men walked in, leather jackets, tattoos, the scent of smoke and beer, the kind of presence that made the jukebox seem quieter and the clock louder. Mia froze for half a second, not out of fear, just instinct, the kind that comes when you know trouble has just taken a seat. They didn't order right away. They laughed, talked loudly, tossed their helmets onto a booth. Their voices filled every corner of the diner. The smallest of them, with a scar across his chin, leaned back in his seat, smirking. "Hey, sweetheart," he said, waving his empty glass. "How about a refill?" Mia approached, cautious but polite. "Of course," she said softly, reaching for the pot. But when she poured, his hand didn't move from the table. He looked up at her with something cruel behind his smile. "You look tired, doll. You sure this job's for you?" His friend snickered. The others watched, the air thick with something unspoken. Mia's voice didn't waver. "Just doing my job, sir." She stepped back, head held straight. But her eyes, those soft brown eyes, flickered toward the exit for a second, counting the distance between courage and escape. The man leaned closer. "Then serve us right, yeah?" He grinned, using a word that made her flinch inside. The laughter around the booth grew louder, heavier, pressing against her like heat. The diner fell into a strange silence, a silence filled with noise. The coffee machine hissed, the clock ticked. A spoon clinked against porcelain. Mia swallowed hard, steadied herself. Her voice was calm, almost tender. "I'll get your order ready." She turned, and in that turn, a tear formed but didn't fall. Before we continue, make sure to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. It really helps us bring you more heartfelt stories like this one. The doorbell rang again. This time the sound was different, low, heavy, like the earth itself had walked in. 3 bikers stepped through the door, older men, weathered faces, leather jackets that told stories of miles and mistakes. They weren't loud, they didn't need to be. Their silence carried its own weight. They walked to the counter, nodding to Mia. "Afternoon, ma'am," said the one in front. Gray beard, gentle eyes, coffee, black, 3 cups. Mia nodded, coming right up. But as she turned to pour, she could feel the tension crackle behind her. The 5 men had gone quiet. One of them muttered something under his breath. Something ugly, something meant to provoke. The gray-bearded biker's eyes lifted slowly. He didn't speak. He just looked. And the room seemed to shift slightly under the weight of that stare. The smallest thug laughed. "What are you staring at, old man?" The biker didn't answer. Instead, he reached into his pocket, took out a small coin, an old service medallion, scratched and worn, and set it gently on the counter. "Just here for coffee," he said. His tone was calm, but his voice carried the kind of steadiness that only comes from someone who's seen real storms. Mia placed the cups in front of them, her hands trembling slightly. "Thank you," she whispered. The scarred man chuckled. "You thank them, but not us? Maybe you like the old ones better, huh?" The words hit the air like broken glass. Mia didn't reply. She stepped back, closer to the counter, holding the tray to her chest like armor. One of the bikers, the youngest, stood slowly, not in anger but in quiet defiance. He looked at Mia, then turned to the men. "Apologize," he said simply. The laughter died instantly. The scarred one smirked. "Or what?" The biker smiled faintly. "Or I'll make sure you remember how to respect people who serve your food." For a long, breathless moment, the diner felt suspended, every eye watching, every sound gone. Even the jukebox stopped spinning. Then the scarred man stood, his chair scraped hard against the floor. Big talk for a guy with gray in his beard. The older biker raised his hand. "Enough." He looked straight into the thug's eyes. "We've all got choices, son. Make the right one before the wrong one gets made for you." There was something in his voice, not a threat, not anger, just truth, and truth has its own kind of power. The scarred man's jaw tightened. His friends shifted uncomfortably. One by one, the laughter faded, replaced by something else. Shame, maybe, or the echo of it. They left a few bills on the table, muttered under their breath, and walked out. The bell above the door jingled again, this time lighter, cleaner. The diner breathed again. Mia exhaled slowly, her knees weak, her chest trembling. She tried to speak but couldn't. The older biker just smiled gently. "You all right, darling?" She nodded, tears finally slipping free. "Yes, thank you." He looked down at his coffee. "Don't thank me. Just keep being kind. The world needs people like you more than it needs people like us." There was a silence, the kind that speaks louder than words. Mia looked at the coin he had left on the counter, the medallion. She picked it up, tracing the worn edges with her thumb. "You forgot this," she said softly. The man shook his head. "No, you keep it. Remind you that not all who walk in with leather jackets are lost causes." And with that, they left. No roaring engines, no dramatic exits, just quiet dignity, like ghosts who came to set something right. If this story has touched your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Your support helps us keep sharing stories that remind us of the power of kindness. When the bell rang one last time and the door shut, Mia stood there alone, the coin in her hand glinting under the soft diner lights. Outside, the clouds began to part, letting thin streams of sunlight spill through the windows. Dust motes danced like tiny fireflies in the golden air. She placed the medallion next to the register, beside a small vase of fading daisies. The jukebox started again, a soft, scratchy tune from decades ago, and for the first time in a long while, Mia smiled. Because sometimes the heroes don't arrive with capes. They walk in quietly, order black coffee, and leave behind proof that humanity still exists. Kindness is not weakness. It's courage in its purest form. And sometimes, the gentlest people are protected by the most unexpected angels.